everyone, and welcome back to Belinda's DIYs. If this is your first time here, welcome. So today I'm going to be creating these right here, these adorable farmhouse kitchen decor. If I do say so myself, I think they turned out really nice. I'm absolutely in love with them. So if you want to see how I create them, then please keep watching. So I do want to warn you that this video is going to be a little bit longer than normal, but I promise that it's well worth it. But before that we get started, I'm just going to ask if you can please subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. And also if you'll click that bell icon, right there in the corner so that you can be notified every time that I upload a new video. For those of you that don't know, I also have a Spanish channel called Latina DIYer Hazlo tú Mismo. I'm going to be linking my channel down below in the description box. Please go and check it out. And this video will also be in Spanish and it'll be uploaded in my Spanish channel tomorrow. So please stay tuned. If you want to listen to it in Spanish, then please go check it out tomorrow in Latina DIYer Hazlo tú Mismo. All right, so are you ready? Let's go ahead and get started. The first DIY will be a cutting board, and these are the items that I'll be using. 4 packs of these wooden rulers, and 2 rulers come in a pack. Some nautical rope, some Gorilla wood glue, some giant craft sticks, and these I purchased at Walmart, and these Dollar Tree poster stickers. Okay, so here I've laid out the 3 packs, and it's like I said, 2 rulers to a pack, but I am going to use 1 from this other pack. So I'll be using 7 rulers total. Okay, so I'm going to start by removing the measurement stickers off the rulers. Okay, so right here I'm just pointing, this is the side where the measurement stickers were at, and what I'm gonna do is turn that side down as I'm doing right there. Next, I'm gonna start aligning all the rulers side by side. Now that they're lined up how I want them, I'm going to go ahead now and use a square just to make sure they don't move as I start to glue them down. You can use a ruler also, you just need something that'll keep them straight. And all I'm going to do is just add some glue on the side and then just attach it to the ruler next to it and so forth. I believe this is the first time that I use some glue to attach wood for a DIY, and I have to say it was pretty messy. I think that's why I always opt for hot glue. But for this project, I didn't want any hot glue to seep out, so I thought this was a better option for this project. Next, I started to wipe off all the excess glue as you see me do right there. It took several of those wipies to take off all that glue. After I removed all that glue, I started to add some of this painter's tape, and this is just so that the wood can stay together until it adheres and dries. And then I carefully turned it over and then removed the glue on the back side as well. And I also added some painter's tape as well. And so this is how the board looks now that I have it all taped up. And now I'm just going to let the glue dry. Okay, so I let it dry for 24 hours, and here is my cutting board looking now. As you can see, that is the back side. You can see the ridges, and then this is the front side. It's nice and smooth. Okay, so now I'm going to start adding the popsicle sticks, but the first thing that I'm going to do is just mark off the ends according to the width of the cutting board. As you see me do right there, I'm going to mark off where I need to cut them. And I'll be doing the same thing to another popsicle stick. Okay, so this is how I'm going to place the first popsicle stick, and here I'm just showing you all the holes that the rulers came with. Now what I'm going to do is just slightly place it over the holes. And for this, I will be using the hot glue. And this is how the cutting board is looking so far. Okay, so now I've taken one of the rulers and I've slipped it in the back side as I'm showing you there, and now I'm just going to hot glue it on the center back side. Okay, so now I'm going to start using the letter stickers and placing them in the center of my cutting board, and it's going to spell eat. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is take some of that nautical rope and just undo it because I just need one of the strands. The nautical rope as is too thick to pass through that top hole where the handle is. So once I pass the rope through, I'm just going to make a knot up at the top. And now I'm just going to take my scissors and just cut off some of that excess rope. And this is how my cutting board turned out. This is not to really use, this is only for decorative purposes. For the second DIY, this will be a bread box, and these are the items that I'll be using. One of these Dollar Tree buckets, some foam board, some letter poster stickers, Waverly chalk paint in white, some black acrylic paint, and this foil aluminum grill topper. Okay, so the first thing that I'm going to do is cut out 2 round circles, and I'll be using my bucket for that. I'm just going to place it over the foam board and then just trace out the circles that I need. This will be the first one, and this will be the second one. Okay, so now I'm going to start cutting out my circles, and I'm going to be using my box cutters for that. Okay, so now I have one cut out, and now I'm going to cut the second one. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is hot glue both of these 2 round foam boards because these are going to be used as my lid for my bread box. You could just use one, but I wanted my lid to be pretty sturdy. Okay, so the next thing that I'm going to do is paint this white with my chalk paint. I didn't have any white foam board, so that's why I had to use this black one. So after the first coat of paint dries, I'm going to give it a second coat. Okay, so the next thing that I'm going to do now is paint the bucket. But the first thing that I'm going to do is just clean it with some glass cleaner just to make sure that it is nice and clean, and that way the paint will adhere well. I'm going to let the first coat of paint dry, and then I'll give it a second coat. Okay, so now the next thing that I'm going to do is cut along the inside panels of this aluminum foil topper. And when you cut it out, you will have this curved edge, and all you have to do is just cut it with your scissors. Once I cut out the pieces that I need, I'm going to start folding the ends inward, and that way the edges will be smooth and not sharp. And for the other side, I am going to have to cut it because it does have a harder edge. And I'm going to do the same thing as I did to the other side. I'm going to fold it, that way I don't have a sharp edge, I'll have a nice smooth edge. And now I'm going to take the handle of this screwdriver and just run it on top just to smooth it out. And I'll be doing that to both sides. Okay, so here I have the 4 pieces, and I followed the same procedure as the one that I showed you. So what I'm going to do next now is paint them with a white chalk paint. So I'm going to let the first coat dry, and then I'm going to give it a second coat of paint. Okay, so the paint on my bucket and on my lid have already dried, and this is how they look with 2 coats of paint. Okay, the next thing that I'm going to do is add the aluminum foil strips around the edge of my lid, as I'm showing you right there. I did have to trim the edge of my lid because it was a bit uneven. Before I hot glue the strip of aluminum, I am just bending it a little bit. Okay, so now I'm ready to start gluing the strip around my lid. And what this does, it just covers up the raw edge of the foam board. And this is how my lid turned out. Okay, so the next thing that I'm going to do now is add the handle to the top of my lid, and all I'm going to do is use another piece of strip of this aluminum foil, and I'm just going to mold it into the shape of a handle. Okay, now that I'm pretty satisfied how the handle turned out, I'm going to hot glue it on top of the lid. And this is how it turned out. Okay, now for my bucket, I'm going to spell the word bread, and I'll be using my stickers for that, and I'm going to center it in the front side of my bucket. Once I have my letters just right, then I start to smooth out each letter. Next, I'm going to brush on some Mod Podge over all the letters. Once I'm done, I'm going to let it dry for a few hours. Okay, so the next thing that I'm going to do is add some black paint along all the edges and trimmings of this lid. And this is how it turned out. And for the bucket, I'm just going to add some of that black paint down at the bottom. And this is how it turned out. I also added some spots as if the paint had chipped off from the bucket. And now my bread box is complete, and I just placed the lid over it. And this is how it turned out. And for the third DIY, I'll be creating a vintage milk can. And these are the items that I'll be using for this DIY. The first item is this storage container from Dollar Tree, 2 metal dog bowls, and these are the smaller bowls, and these I also purchased at Dollar Tree. And once again, I'll be using this foil grill topper and this printout that I found in the Google Images. And once again, I'll be using the Waverly White chalk paint and this acrylic paint in the color Burnt Umber. The first thing that I'm going to do is super glue and hot glue one bowl over the mouth of the top of the container, just like this. Next, I'm going to add some hot glue and super glue to the bottom of this bowl and then place the other bowl on top. And so now you have both bottom bowls glued together. And this is how my milk canister is looking now. Before I start to paint it, I'm going to spray some glass cleaner and wipe it down and clean it. That way the paint can adhere better. Okay, so now I'm ready to start painting the whole container using my white chalk paint. I'll be giving this one coat of paint and letting it dry, and then go in with a second coat. And as you can see, I also painted the inside of the bowl. And for this project, I'll also be using the same white aluminum foil strips that I've painted white. And this is how the canister looks, and now that the paint is dry. Okay, so the next thing that I'm going to do is cut this strip of foil in half because I'm going to be using them to form my handles. And here I'm just cutting them the same size. Once I form my handles, I'll be placing them on each side of the canister. So once again, I'm going to start bending and forming the handles until I'm completely satisfied in how they look. And this is how both of my handles turned out, and now I'm ready to hot glue them. And this is how my canister looks now with both handles. Next, I'm gonna cut out this printout, and I'm only gonna use where it says Farm Fresh and Milk. And now I'm gonna add some Mod Podge to the back of the printout. And then I'm gonna place it in the front side of the canister. And then I'm just gonna smooth it out with my fingers. And then to seal the printout, I'm gonna brush on some Mod Podge. And now I'm gonna let it dry for a few hours. Okay, so I'm gonna be using this burnt umber acrylic paint because I want my canister to look like it was a bit rusty. I'm gonna be using this plain sponge to apply the paint, and I like it because it has all those little crevices. But before I use it, I'm just gonna cut a strip off. Okay, so now that I've applied some paint on my sponge, I'm just gonna apply it in just different areas of my canister. I want this milk canister to look as if it was rusting a bit, and that's why I chose the color as I mentioned earlier. And this is how my vintage milk canister turned out. You can display the canister as is, or you can add some flowers or greenery up at the top where the bowl is. And here is my Dollar Tree Farmhouse Kitchen Decor. Well, that is it for this video. I hope that you enjoyed it. If you did, please give me a big thumbs up and also share. I'd really appreciate it. You have yourself a blessed day. And remember, love, laugh, and create. Until my next video, bye-bye. And please don't forget to go check out my Spanish channel. Bye, and God bless.